when Gaddafi insert in 1999 advanced coming out of the OAU to the African Union with a vision of the United States of Africa. Muammar Ghaddafi spent, listen to me, billions of dollars to create the African Union.
The late Muammar Ghaddafi, who was the president of Libya, was not eliminated because he was a dictator. He was eliminated because of his love and his vision for the continent of Africa. That is what Honorable Louis Farrakhan has told the world. I want us to watch this video. I will be back.
Kwame Nkrumah Osajifo from Ghana, he was the first man to lead Ghana out of British control. And Osajifo Kwame Nkrumah had a vision that he got from Marcus Garvey. So you have the Black Star in Accra that came with Marcus Garvey, the Black Star line. He said he wanted to see the United States of Africa. Gamal Abdel Nasser had that same vision. Well, I was with Muammar Ghaddafi when Gaddafi insert in 1999 advanced coming out of the OAU to the African Union with a vision of the United States of Africa. Muammar Ghaddafi spent, listen to me, billions of dollars to create the African Union. Did you know that Gaddafi gave $300 million and the other African nations gave $100 million to put up a satellite so that we who call Africa don't have to go through Europe to get to Africa? And Europe was getting $500 million a year just by our telephone calls to the continent. Now we can call directly to Africa, and that $500 million is in the hand of African people. Did you know that Muammar Ghaddafi was setting up an African development bank with $70 billion in the African Development Bank from Libyan oil money? That we would not have to borrow money from the IMF and the World Bank at these exorbitant rates. Zero interest under Islamic non-usury teachings. I just left St. Kitts, and in the island of St. Kitts, he was going to set up a Caribbean Development Bank. He told the Prime Minister there, and he was going to put $1 billion in that bank for Caribbean development. Why do you think they killed him? You think they killed him because he killed his people? Hell no. They killed him because, listen to me real good. You touched my nerve with that question. Did you know that in Libya, nobody is homeless? Listen, everybody in Libya has either a home or an apartment. They call it a flat. Did you know education in Libya is free from kindergarten through college? And did you know that if a Libyan wanted to come to America to be educated, the government in Libya paid for their education? Did you know that? I was there when he opened a $500 million hospital with 18 theaters for operation. I was there, and we went when he was making their own medicines. See, this was a man that gave free medical attention to all the citizens of Libya. And if Libya did not offer that kind of medical attention, they could fly anywhere in the world and get it, and the Libyan government would pay for it. Did you know that? No, you didn't. Did you know that from the oil money, every Libyan citizen got a stipend every year? And did you know that that man had no debt? Everything in his country was paid for. See? Now, when you got a man that did that for an African nation and was trying to do that for all Africa, how do you think Europe felt about that?
Majority of Africans don't normally know what is happening across the continent. There is one thing I want to tell my African brothers and my African American viewers who normally watch this channel today is that whenever you hear an African leader being hailed by the Western country, you should suspect that leader. Whenever you hear an African leader being hailed by the Western country, you should suspect that leader because they are benefiting something from him that don't benefit his country. They are getting access to some things that his main citizens, his country citizens, are not getting that access. So whenever you hear there is a leader who is doing well, there is a leader who is working hard to project his country, you have to start suspecting that leader. And whenever you hear the Western countries trying to brand an African leader as a dictator, then you should know that person is the right one doing the right thing for his continent. That is the only way you are going to find out the good and the bad of the African leaders. Recently, Ghana was facing economic challenges, but they make sure that they are not going to join IMF because they just came out from IMF just 2017 or 2018. So they are going to do their best to handle the difficulties because after the COVID, everyone was in fire. So Ghana decided to hold on their own and try to address this issue. Within that moment, we started getting negative review about Ghana and its economy. We started hearing a whole lot of things. Inflations were going hard, and when it happens like that, you will see a whole lot of international, let me say, Western tabloid announcing it or projecting it, and you are going to realize, no, this is not so. Everyone was realizing how bad the Ghana situation was until Ghana decided to join IMF. After Ghana decided to join IMF, things still hasn't been okay. Things are still difficult. Things are still expensive. Inflations are going high. But I have seen IMF and other tabloids have started giving Ghana good reviews. Just recently, there is some ratings that came out that top 10 African countries with a good governance, and Ghana was in number 5. What I have realized is Western countries can make you, especially if you depend on them. Gaddafi has a strategy for African countries to set up their own banks so they can go for loans from that bank. Gaddafi was also pushing for the United Africa. So, from nowhere, this man they started branding him as a dictator. And what really pains me is Gaddafi was doing well with Libya. Gaddafi developed Libya. They were not dependent on any country. The economy was on point. Many West Africans were running to Libya. I have an uncle who was surviving in Libya, and his life was better. But now compare Libya to some years ago when Gaddafi was in power. Compare these two Libya and realize which one was doing well or which one is doing well. What Mr. Louis Farrakhan is saying is true. Many African leaders, I know some leaders will try to be greedy and selfish and try to change the constitution so that they can have more years in power. Yes, we have some selfish and greedy leaders who are doing that. But most of the leaders whom they were branded as dictators. Kwame Nkrumah even was branded as a dictator. Patrice Lumumba was branded as a dictator. Thomas Sankara was branded as a dictator. So all the good leaders who were trying to use their patriotism and their knowledge to help build Africa were branded as a dictator. And now, look at those we have, the puppets, those who can't do anything in the continent without seeking for the views or an opinion from the Western countries. We keep giving our own resources to other countries for them to refine it and later bring us the refined product and sell it to us very expensive. So whatever Mr. Louis Farrakhan or Honorable Louis Farrakhan is saying is the truth. Mr. Gaddafi was not eliminated because he's a dictator. He was eliminated because of his visions for the continent of Africa. Please go to my description box and click on the Telegram link in that box. It will take you to my Telegram platform. Join us there for us to discuss about the well-being of Africa. If today is also your first time coming on this channel or watching my content, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification button so that anytime I upload any great content, you will be notified. Thanks for watching.